Imparting knowledge to into someone. Can be yeah, it can be in their perception wise changes, or it can be a change into through their background. They can change to someone coming from a very difficult background, from a very lower background, from a very backward background where education was not there. And after education, we can find that there is a change in their behavior by means of like they can go to the offices, they can earn, they can talk, they can speak. This is what I mean to say, sir. Yeah, very good. And it is obviously it is the education. You can define education very nicely according to your views now. But actually, my views is a very different from you. Because what education is not. I am starting with my lecture. What education is not. Then we come to the idea what is education. Because you are rightly saying that education is the imparting of knowledge. What type of knowledge? I think it is not the book learning. No, it's not the rote learning. It should be definitely something that makes us understand things and concepts in a much better way on our own. Okay. Yeah. Sir, I think sir, education is a process through which we can communicate with the other person. We can share with our point of view. We can transfer our point of view with the other person. It's my point of view that is education because normally whatever we have done in school, college, and in higher education, that is a formal education, right? And in my point of view, that is a simple way of a communication that we can understand the point of view of the people, language of the people, etc., etc., and we can also take our decision with the logic. That is education. Okay. But your view also I am collecting that first. Sir. Yeah. From my perspective, education is basically to enlighten someone. Enlighten someone. Very good. In a broader perspective, I feel that this is a more suitable definition for education or the purpose of education. It is the aims of education. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Just please mute all of you because I can just got your response and I am very happy to know about your ideas that your views, all views are very correct. All views are very correct. But I can discuss with this education in the different views now. The different views is now. But first, I am talking about the what education is not. Please mute everyone. Then when I am asking, then you can just unmute and respond now. The education you might use, but in your understanding of education is also now, is it not book learning? Firstly, So, is it diverse knowledge? This is my question. This is not the book only, no. It is meant for the diverse knowledge. Second point, according to second opinion, it is a communication told me. So education is not a accumulation of words only. I communicate, okay. But education is not an accumulation of words. My views, education is not the collecting of facts. Education is not the amount of information that is put into your brain and runs right or just please unmute. Education is not the amount of information that is put into your brain that is undigested all your life. Because I am going to the actually political views and the socio-political aspect of education. So education is not the amount of information is mine that is put in your brain or undigest all of your life now. Then what is education? Education obviously is an enlightenment. That is the great definition by Swami Vivekananda that education is the manifestation of the perfection already in man. It's a very, very effective definition of the education. The manifestation of the perfection already in man, what we are manifest and what is perfect, it is the most important part for the defined education. It is very important part for the defined education. So it is need for the training by which the correct and expression of will of individual is brought under control and become fruitful. That is the goal of education. If it is fruitful and it is you express properly, then it is true education. And education may be described as a development of your faculty. Faculty means of your brain faculties or your sense organ faculty, not only the accumulation of word or as a critic of individual who will rightly and efficiently use that information for right place, right person, right time. So real education is that which enables one to stand on his own legs. Someone told me that it is the education for the army, obviously. But obviously, it is the army, but real education that enables one to stand on his own legs. Why I'm talking is that because when we are thinking about the aims and objectives of the education, then you always see what are the purpose of education that is mentioned by the government, by their policy. This is the more important part. Even we are talking with the general system of education, but in this point, the real education that which enables one to stand on his own legs means it's need for the vocational, technical, professional education as well. So if you assimilated your ideas, you build your character and the education that any man who has got by heart a whole your library means you are taking your education by heart. You feel it. You just think that why I am taking the education, what my purpose, and for this reason, the most important definition I am collecting that education is the manifestation of the perfection already in man. So you are a perfect man because in character, because in your emotion, you can control your emotion, and you can become fruitful or now in society. So this is the important part of the education is now. But what we observe that people sit simply in the class. But a good example, you are joining in this online classes. I do not know. You are just simply joining, or you can just learn from this lesson. Because we are not, because all you are being visible, because there is a online communication system we can use here now. Anything, not for the online, but it is also offline. Educational system, the people sits in the classroom. It is my observation. I think your observation is different, maybe, but does not belong to the class. It is my observation is the student sits in the class, but does not belong to the class. When we ask it why said, because of it is my observation. It is the system always encouraging the cramming, cramming, cramming. So, from the ancient to modern period also, the teachers knows everything. The pupils do not know anything. That is our attitude. That is our belief. And for this reason, we are talking about the teacher-centered education. But nowadays, this teacher-centered education is shifting to the learner-centered education, philosophically, psychologically, so, but they are not belongs to the classroom because of that everything is the system of cramming. So teachers know everything, but pupils do not know anything. Teachers lecture, and you are listening. When I am lecturing to you and you are listening, I am demonstrating, you observe. Teacher asks questions, pupil answer them. Teacher enforces his authority, the teacher enforces his authority. Sorry. Teachers enforces his authority. The teacher enforces his authority and pupils obey it. Teacher might sometimes wrong lesson by imposing his authority of knowledge, and the pupils are to tolerate the punishment as a negligence. As the pupil sits in the classroom but does not belong to the class. It is my opinion, it is my observation. Is it correct? What is your opinion? From my opinion, is very different. Is any difference? Can you unmute and answer?
No, sir, it's not different. Your thinking is, your perception is right, and I also thought that, but I can't explain this that everyone can told that.
Yes. Anyone? Can you share your experience? Because all you are below learners of the education. Because you are getting your degree, you are getting your knowledge. I raise these questions that it's my questions. I am telling about some my observation. I don't agree with this observation. If you properly listen my statement, what I am told you, then that is my observation. Will agree or not?
Yes, sir, I am agree.
Actually, that someone will ask me the what is the question, so I am getting the question now.
Sabnam, sir, yes, yes. I just missed that part, last part. That's why I asked what was the
Okay,
question.
okay. That's difficult for continuing lectures now. Okay. Then,
Sir, no
yeah,
problem. No.
no problem. Okay. Then, so why education? Then why education? Why education?
enough knowledge is very important.
Distribution of knowledge.
Yes, because it is because as a human being, we are a social animal, and without the society, a single individual person cannot develop. Through the whole society and the nation, if we want to develop the whole nation, the society must be educated, and likewise, as a part of the society, I feel each and every individual needs to be educated. And that is why education is very
Yeah,
important.
very important. But please unmute your. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think just like our body needs nurturing, so our mind also, and education is there for the betterment of our nourishment, so that we can become a responsible citizen and a kind of resource to our society, to our country.
Okay, 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 okay. Very good response. But your opinion, one use the responsible citizens, another they told me that it's the educated. So I am next class. I am talking with this terminology we use in our MES 11 understanding of education. Some of the important terminology now. We are learned, we are educated, we are literate. That is a big question system. We are knowledgeable, so there is a basic difference between the four terms because when you are used or know about the education, you should clear your idea about the terminology. Knowledgeable, educated, and these are the most important concept within the citizens, good citizens. Obviously, it is a very good concept of our education. But my view is that education for learning, education for learning, education for human development. That comprehensive education for one thing is the mental skill. You will develop your mental skill as well as your manual skill. Means there is the four pillar of UNESCO prescribed. That is learning to know, learning to be, learning to do, learning to live together. So what the survival mode? For the survival mode, the education for mental skill as well as education is also a manual skill. Means most important part is the learning to do, learning for the human development. So coming to child personality, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry for the interruption. Can you please read that?
Yeah. Learning, first it is that's of learning. It is learning to know. KNOW. Learning to know. Learning to do. Learning to be. Learning to live together. Clear? So now education is a right. Just in our constitution, it's a fundamental in our constitution also. But still now, we cannot assure that all education for all, because still now there is a dropout, there is a stagnation. This is happened in every country and most of the developing country and the underdeveloped countries now. So it is a fundamental right. So it is the right of the child, the development of his child personality, development of the child talent, development of the child mental and physical ability to their fullest potential. So, in my opinion, that education is the development, education for development. Which type of development? Now, it is the development of child personality. It is development of the child talent. It is the development of the mental and physical ability to their fullest potential. What is means of the fullest potential? What is the meaning of the fullest potential? The meaning, yeah, yeah, efficiently, yeah, effectively and efficiently. But yes, it is effectively with it. But I'm talking with the core of the education. But you know that some of the terminology we use here now, because it is a very important part to clear what is education. It is the most epistemological, philosophical views what is education is now. So it is a very narrow sense of education that effective. We use the effective, but it is not effective at all unless and we can use the education properly and proper development of the child and the fullest development of the potential. Then we cannot assume that it is a effective or good education now. So, for my opinion, the fullest potential means ability to think and reason, rightly one said, the development of the reasoning power. Development of the reasoning power, it is the most important part. So ability to think and reason, build up self-respect. First you build your self-respect as well as you respect for the other. That is the good citizen. That is the good citizen that build up self-respect as well as you respect for the other. Think ahead and plan for the future. And mostly, the development of the basic capabilities means basic learning outcomes. What are the basic learning outcomes? What is the basic learning outcome? What are the basic learning outcomes? The behavioral changes. Behavioral change. No, the basic learning outcome it is the reading, writing, and listening.
So performing, sir. Should I
Performing.
add this performing? Because if someone learning comes somewhere, if he or she not able to perform that part, so education part will not fulfill, I think, sir.
But
So
how you perform? How you
so
perform?
whatever we learn now, that is real life application also necessary, no, sir?
Obviously, but what are the basic skill for the learning? It is the basic reading, writing, and arithmetic. That is the this is the basic need. Then you will performing by the writing or using the mathematical reasoning. That is you are performing. The basic learning skill is the reading, writing, and counting or arithmetic or subquiz. That is the functional literacy is required for your education. That is the functional literacy. So if you are a functionally literate, then you are a literate. That there is a difference between illiterate and literate. They have the functional literacy means reading, writing, and then know the arithmetic. That is the basically functionally literate person. But it may be knowledgeable, may not be knowledgeable. He may be educated, but may not be educated. But actually, this is not happen in our society. This is not happen in our society. Why? Because of that, what goes on the school today means I am talking means school means institution too. What is going in the institution today? It is the dominance of the knowledge that I am starting with my lecture. It is the book learning. It is the cramming. It is the rote learning. So it is the dominance of the knowledge. So curriculum is confined to academic work and lacking in the non-academic activity. And obviously, our system is a very age-old methodology we apply. And the content we are learning, it is the outdated content. So basically, our system, that the curriculum is a very much arbitrary, but we do not know what type of knowledge we are imparting for the lifelong education, what type of teaching we are giving for the lifelong education, what type of system of education we are giving in India or abroad. So this is the very fundamental question in our system of education. So goals of
goal of democracy is providing for food, clothing, education, and vocational facilities to all. And formulation of the educational goal also the responsibility of the political system. Because in your chapter, there it is a very much important part is the political system. This is the most important part for the educational goal. And obviously, this importance of education goal is emphasized by philosophers and the educator to all stages. So education is a very much planned activity. What I'm talking, it is the education is very much planned activity and significant meaning and faith is put into the action without clear-cut goal. If there is a no clear-cut goal, that why we are taking education, which type of knowledge we are imparting, it is not clear, then we cannot fulfill the potentiality of the individual. So education is the most important for our educational system. So for this reason, that country that reach a stage in its economical and technological development, that country, when a major effort must be made to deprive the maximum benefit from the assets already created and to ensure that the fruits of changes reach all sections, and education is highway for all the goals. That is the most fundamental question about the education. That why we are taking education, why we are thinking for the right to education for all. Because of that, the country has reached a stage in its economical and technological development when a major effort must be made to derive the maximum benefit from the assets already created and to ensure that the fruits of change reach all sections. So education is the highway for these goals. For this reason, these different type of educational policy and educational aims and educational objectives they are framing. And for this reason, creating the national system of education. National policy of education, a national system of education implies that up to a given level, all students, irrespective of caste, creed, location, or sex, have access to education of a comparable quality. This is just revision of the common school system education that is recommended by the different policy from the 1968 to 1986 and obviously the modern educational policy to 2020 also. So everywhere it is need for the curriculum framework. So we are talking about the curriculum, and that is the most important part for the education is now. Then what is curriculum? Can you tell me what is curriculum? What is curriculum? Can anyone say about?
So it's a kind of framework, sir.
This is framework. Yes, but
Along with aims and objectives.
okay, but I think you are not any idea real education means academic education, subject education. Okay, it is your opinion. Very good, very good. But what is the curriculum? Actually, what is the curriculum? Actually, what is the curriculum?
It's
It's a
basically
kind of
a
set up
teaching
of syllabus
concept.
according to the age group.
According to the
According to their age group, suppose like the primary section, secondary section, higher secondary, the college. So according to age group, when institution or organization set up their means their subject matter for the students, for the learner. That is the curriculum.
Okay, very good, very good, very good. Any other opinion?
Yes, sir. It is basically a teaching content. What knowledge should be imparted to the student? The framework with time frame and with the teaching content.
Okay, teaching content. Very good. Teaching content. Okay. So what is curriculum?
Part also.
Okay, very good. But what is curriculum? It is the most important part. Curriculum, an organized course of study. Curriculum is an organized course of study undertaken for a particular group of students, not different level of the students, particular group of the students. Say, for example, primary, it is the primary education. Secondary, it is the secondary education. It is not the level. It is the particular group of the students under the age of the institution of curriculum. Means age is the most important part of the framing of the curriculum. Means that is the group of the students and organized content course of the studies undertaken for a particular group of the students under the ages of the institution of its curriculum. So curriculum comprises the totality of the learning experience because you are the students of the education. So you always use the term is the learning, learning, learning. This is the most important part that education is related with the learning because learning is the most important concept. Why? Because learning change your behavior. Excuse me, sir. Yes, sorry. Learning change. Yeah, yeah. Yes.
Sir, actually, sir, I have a doubt. A long time ago that, sir, same age group, suppose the capability or capacity of the students not same.
Yeah.
So how the weaker student cope up of this same syllabus? Suppose a class 9 student and his maturity level like class 7, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, he or she struggle for that syllabus, particular syllabus. So sometimes it's difficult for the few students. So is it possible to set up that kind of curriculum for the weaker section, different curriculum and the
yeah. That is
yes, that is necessary, sir. Actually, being a teacher, sir, I feel in my class also, few students are not cope up with the syllabus, and we have some target to do or complete our syllabus. So sometimes we are not give our 100% for that kind of child.
Yeah.
Right, sir?
So, you are correct. Your observation is correct. But what is the problem is now that you are talking with the backward students. Which is my opinion. No learner is the backward. The system tell that student as a backward. The system. Why? Because we cannot provide the actual education of that group. If we provide the education, proper education from that group, then he is potentially capable according your ability to nourish or future development. Actually, what we are talking is now, because we are talking about the education is mean that is a compartmentalization of education. Means you are the students of the class 9, means you are the students of the class 9 and your syllabus obviously is class 9 standard. Obviously it should be a class 9 standard. But if any student is the backward student, there is an alternate system of education we can encourage for that student that you are not come into the formal regular system, but you should be an inclusive system of education. Nirupam, are you clear? That is the inclusive system of education, integration system of education. We can encourage for those students. Nobody will backward. But our system will tell you this backward. Who told you that he or she is backward? Your system tell you that he or she is backward. Because of that, there is so many drawbacks. Because of that, for that reason, he or she as a student backward. What I'm telling you can understand.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because
Yes, sir.
because we cannot provide the system, we cannot use that content for that students now, because there is so many controversies about this part. So curriculum comprises the totality of the learning experiences, and obviously there is a basic difference of the curriculum to content to syllabus. That curriculum
It is obviously totally of learning experience. What is content? Broken into the number of subjects. Content means it is the number of the subjects. Say for example, it is the secondary level. There is so many content. We can broken into the different subjects. Say for example, language. Say for example, social studies. Say for example, science subject. So for example, math subject. These are the different number of the content we are imparting this in our curriculum now. So curriculum comprises the totality of that experiences, and these subjects mentioned in our syllabus. This totality of the topic or learning experience under each subject which is elaborated in your textbook, that is the syllabus. Say for example, when I started my class, I discussed that I am teaching you MES 11, and MES 11, say for example, that is the unit 1, block 1, that is what is education, and 4 units under this under this block. So these are the 4 units. It is the mention. It is the syllabus. But actually, what is the content? The content is the what is education. So what is education? It is the totality of the topic. What is the number of the subject you are teaching? I am teaching about the education, understanding of education, understanding education. This is the content. Under this content, different units, it is mentioned as a syllabus. And totality of the topic and learning experience under each subject which is elaborated in the textbook. So ABS 11, it is your syllabus oriented textbook, but content is now that understanding education. Are you clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Same thing, same thing in the school subject also. That we are thinking that learning experience, that our educationist, our curriculum developer, we think that is the learning experience. Communication is most important part. For the background of the communication, it is need for the language. So we can introduce the content of the language, so we can teach the different language as mother tongue, second language, third language, same thing. So this is the content. It is the essential for communicate properly, effectively in our society. So we can introduce the content as a subject, as a language, and we can break into the different topics what we are giving to learning experience, that is the syllabus. In this way, we are framing the curriculum, we are framing the content, and from that content, we are preparing the syllabus unit wise. Second thing, obviously, that Nirupam asked the questions that backward students. For that content, we are usually use the same type of methodology for all learners. It is true because we all teachers use a lecture method or demonstration method to the students. Now, it is the same type of curriculum transaction we follow. So these are the curriculum transaction is the most important part for the imparting the knowledge, imparting the content, imparting the unit idea. So what is curriculum transaction? So first I am discussing about the curriculum. I am talking about the content. Then I am talking about the syllabus. Now I am talking about the curriculum transaction, which is the most important part of our educational system. Because of that, we are starting from the past to present to future. That means from the Vedic age to British age to the modern system of education. If we observe that this transaction is shifting now, that transaction is shifting. The Gurukul system of education, that Guru and Sishya. And in the second part, that is the in the British system of education, it is the center of institution as a school education. So it is a democratic system of education. Before that, it is the individualized system of education. Now it is shifting into the institutionalized change of education. Now in the 21st century, we are talking about the blending mode of education, that institution with online and offline. So system will change and the curriculum transaction also change for the different system now. So process of implementation of the set of activity, it is obviously listed in your curriculum. The process of implementation of the set of activity is must be listed in your curriculum. But unfortunately, we observe that in our curriculum transaction, this list of activity is not mentioned. So the process of implementation, that if we taking the class in your school, in your students, this what transactional method you apply, it is prescribed by the government in their textbook or their syllabus. I think no, because most important part, this content you should be when it should be that activity must be mentioned in your curriculum, that activity based curriculum you can use for these students now. So this is the important part for the curriculum transaction. Transaction of the curriculum effectively and efficiently requires a residential component of the teacher. Why teacher? Because of the need for the competency in the organizing various activities. You have a knowledgeable, you have a learned, you know about the, you have a competency how to how to effectively, efficiently you are transact your curriculum. So this is the system. This is the organizational various activity. It is mentioned in your curriculum that for the backward students, this is not the same method you can apply. You use the different type of method, but we cannot not use this different type of method. We are always taking the average type of teaching, that is the lecture or demonstration. We are use this common transactional procedure. By using the adequate techniques and methods that transact the content of the textbook so as to enable the children pick up their relevant knowledge and develop their necessary skills, and we can develop their attitude. So if we use according your potentiality, according your capability, and we using the adequate techniques and methods, we transact the content of the textbook so as to enable the children to pick up the relevant information. The backward students, they are collecting their needs, their interests, their relevancy. The gifted children, gifted children or advanced children, they according their capability, they are capable to pick up their relevant knowledge and develop their necessary skill and their attitude. Their aims of objectives to success in the academic success in your life, but their objective is not the academic success of their to survive in our society. Why they are keen? So there are the different objectives now. So for this purpose, the curriculum construction, it is the most important part for our educational system. So education is an important both for investment in a human capital and obviously development of the technology. Means we are talking with the initial phase of education, means primary to secondary and higher secondary. It is obviously it is the year of schooling, formal schooling from primary source of the education. So it is the obviously it is the limitation, it is innovation. When you are talking with the higher education, then you are talking with the innovation, research, and other things. Obviously, in the primary to secondary education, that initial stage of the education, that we can accord the year of schooling, in formal schooling, that is the primary source of education. So for this reason, to taking the education, to know as a knowledgeable person, to to educated person, it is need for the formal schooling is necessary. Because we are getting from the informally. But formal schooling is necessary. Because of that, we are imitating, but the imitation is the initial stage of the education. After the formal schooling is over, that quality of the effective learning and obviously educational outcome for the higher education then will come to the innovation and research and development of the diffusion of your innovative idea. So that is the basic difference from the secondary primary education and for the higher education. The purpose is the different and their curriculum is the different, their content is the different, their syllabus is the different. So this is the important part for the educational of the aspect. So national policy of education, they are thinking about the promoting equality through equality of education opportunity. They are talking about the lifelong education. They're talking about the developing diverse culture and social system. So these are the aims of the education that is mentioned in our educational system is now. So education, it is obviously important for development of the learners. So what I am talking is now, I am talking about the concept of education is related to contextualized with empowerment. What I am talking is the concept of education is related to contextualized with empowerment. In ancient times, education was defined as the making an individual a gentleman or a culturally refined person. This education is not meant to improve one individual skill so that economically one is independent. So education for a vocation or employment. Now education is also supposed to empower the individual. That is the modern concept of education. The education is empower the individual. Education for all in our cherished school. In ancient India, education remained a monopoly of the elite and the designed caste group. Medieval India created a new elite group and introduced a new language of culture. But in societal terms, it was no different from the ancient. British company introduced an official system of education. Numerous missionaries were already actively promoting European education and knowledge for the spread of Christianity in education. So in India, that is the part for the purpose of the education. That is the concept of the education. It is always changing from time to time, from period to period, from ancient to modern education. Is there any question you can ask now? Is there any question?
No, sir.
What I am telling simply that is the education. Simply educate. Yeah, hello.
স্যার আমার একটা প্রশ্ন আছে
হ্যাঁ বলো।
হ্যাঁ স্যার আমরা এই সময় আপনি যেটা পালন ছিল সেটা অনেকটাই মানে ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল আমরা ব্যাপারটা দেখি তাহলে বেদের ওপর বেদ উপনিষদের ওপরে ফোকাস ছিল হ্যাঁ আর তারপরে যখন ব্রিটিশরা এলো তার মাঝখানে মুসলিমরা যখন ছিল সেটা কিন্তু আরবি শেখানো হতো হ্যাঁ তারপরে যখন ব্রিটিশরা এলো দেখা গেল যে ক্রিশ্চিয়ানিটির একটা বিরাট বড় ভূমিকা তখন ছিল মানে প্রথমে মিশনারিরা এসেছিল তারপরে ব্যাপারটা পড়াশোনা শুরু হয় আর কি তো মডার্ন টাইমে যখন আমরা মানে মানে এখন পড়াশোনা বা এডুকেশনটার মধ্যে রয়েছি তো মানে ইজ দেয়ার এনি রিলিজিয়াস effect on education present time?
Actually, we are not talking with this part as a religion, but it is actually cultural synthesis in our educational system.
Okay,
it is a cultural synthesis of our educational system. So we are that's India. It is multicultural, multilingual, multi-religion. we are only talking about the cultural synthesis in our education. We are enrich our educational system, so from ancient to missionary. Okay, are you clear?
Yes, sir. Thanks. Thank you, sir.
Is there any questions? Otherwise, it is time is over. Nearing, see, it is now reaching. I think it is the time is 7 to 8 now, but it is started already 15 minutes below, so it is a 1 hour. It is automatically stopped now. So for this reason, we can talking was the 1 or 2 minutes. We can asking any question. Next day, I will talk about the educated learners and the other part of this educational system. Is there any question you can ask?
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yeah.
স্যার এক্সামে যখন আমরা আনসার লিখবো স্যার, তো সেখানে কি স্যার স্টাডি মেটেরিয়াল রিলেটেড সবকিছুই কি হুবহু লিখতে হবে না আমরা আমাদের ওপিনিয়ন বেস আনসারও লিখতে পারি স্যার?
নট নেসেসারিলি বাট এমন কোন আনসার তোমরা লিখবে না পাবলিক ওপিনিয়নটা দ্যাট ইজ হার্ড ফর দ্য সোসাইটি।
নো স্যার, সেটা তো অবশ্যই না স্যার। আমি এটাই বলতে চাই যে যে ইনফরমেশন গুলো বইতে লেখা আছে সেগুলো কি স্যার বইয়ের ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে লিখতে হবে না সেটাকে আমরা নিজেদের ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ লিখতে পারি? কন্টেন্টটা ওই একই থাকবে।
আমি এবার তোমাদেরকে আমি একটা দুটো জিনিস শেখাচ্ছি, কারণ আমি তোমাদের অ্যাসাইনমেন্টস গুলোকে দেখেছি। For the assignment, you never copy from your study material. Okay? It is your own opinion. You can explain this assignment topic is now. But when you are sit in the term and exam, মানে এটা আমি তোমরা ইনঅগ্রেশন সেশনে আমি এই জন্যই বারবার চেষ্টা করছিলাম, we are talking with the regional and the headquarters that as early as possible we are start our counseling session. For this reason, before you are submitting your assignment, there is this some knowledge is required for writing the assignment. But when you are submitting your assignment, okay, when you are writing the assignment, it is your experience with writing. But when you are writing in your term and exam, there is a three type of questions in the term and exam. Third part of the question in your assignments also, that it is the basically experience based question. So obviously first two part question, it is related with your textbook. বাট তুমি তোমার ওন ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে লিখবে কি না লিখবে সেটা খুব বড় ব্যাপার হচ্ছে কন্টেন্ট শুড বি রিলেটেড উইথ how is getting your content, তুমি কন্টেন্টটা পাবে কোত্থেকে? তোমাকে তো you can study the study material thoroughly. It is my opinion.
আমি সেটাই বলছিলাম স্যার, যদি যে কন্টেন্টটা আমাদের ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে লেখা আছে সেটা সেম টু সেম থাকবে, কিন্তু সেটা আমাদের ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে লিখবো আর কি। মানে
একদম আমি তোমাদেরকে অ্যাজ পার এক্সামের জন্য বলছি, তোমরা খুব প্রিসাইসলি you can learn ডিস্টেন্স এডুকেশনে কিন্তু খুব ডেসক্রিপটিভ লেখার কোনো জায়গা নেই। তোমরা টু পয়েন্ট অ্যান্সার করবার চেষ্টা করবে, তার কারণ দেয়ার ইজ এ ওয়ার্ড লিমিট 500 or 1000 ওয়ার্ড। প্লিজ মেনশন দিস ওয়ার্ড লিমিট। আননেসেসারি তুমি অনেক কিছু লিখে করতে যাবে না। ভেরি প্রিসাইসলি তোমরা পড়াশোনাও করবে হচ্ছে ভেরি প্রিসাইসলি। আই এম নট টকিং উইথ দিস পার্ট। আমার মানে আমরা অফলাইনে হলে আমি তোমাদেরকে দেখাতে পারতাম that study material is prepared in so scientifically that in your right side there is this space for white space. For this, why it is mentioned this space? Because when you are reading your study material, that main important point you write on the white space now. When you are revised your content, just you revise this writing on your white space now. Puro content আর করতে যাবে না। You understand? How to use the study material for the distance education is the most important part. স্টাডি মেটেরিয়ালটা ওইভাবে পড়া হয় না ডিস্টেন্স এডুকেশনে। এটা তোমরা আমরা জানি যে তোমাদের রেগুলার মোডের সাথে এখানে ডিফারেন্স আছে। তোমরা অনেক কাজে ব্যস্ত থাকো, সবকিছুর মধ্যে থেকে তোমাকে ডিস্টেন্সে পড়াশোনা করছো, তোমাদের বাধাগুলো আমরা বুঝি। সেই জন্য হচ্ছে তোমাকে পড়তে হবে স্টাডি মেটেরিয়াল সাইন্টিফিক্যালি। ডু আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড?
ইয়েস স্যার, ইয়েস স্যার।
থ্যাংক ইউ সো মাচ স্যার। থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
তাহলে হচ্ছে ইউ ক্যান রিড দ্য স্টাডি মেটেরিয়াল।
থ্যাংক ইউ সো মাচ স্যার।
thoroughly. Okay? So okay,
স্যার আমাকে একটা প্রবলেম আছে। আমি না অ্যাসাইনমেন্টটা গুগল ফর্মের থ্রু দিয়ে বারবার চেষ্টা করছি সাবমিট করার, কিন্তু কিছুতেই লিঙ্কটা কাজ করছে না। ওটা বারবার দেখাচ্ছে সার্ভার রিজেক্টেড। তো আমি তো সেদিনকে বিকাশ ভবনের অজয় স্যারের সঙ্গেও কথা বললাম,
আর আমি আছি হচ্ছে বাংলাদেশে, তো এখান থেকে আমি যদি কোরিয়ার করি, খোঁজ নিয়েছিলাম, ওটা অনেকটা এক্সপেন্সিভ হয়ে যাচ্ছে, প্রায় 4000 মতো পড়ে যাবে।
আমি আপনাকে আনঅফিসিয়ালি বলতে পারি, আপনি ফিরছেন কবে?
আমি পরীক্ষা দিতেই জানুয়ারিতে যাব, 18 তারিখে।
তাহলে তো খুব মুশকিল।
হ্যাঁ, আমার সবকিছু রেডি আছে, আমাকে জাস্ট আপনি যদি কোনো মেল আইডি দেন আমি সেন্ড করে দিতে পারি।
না অ্যাকচুয়ালি হোয়াট ইজ দ্য প্রবলেম ইজ নাও ম্যাডাম, মেল আইডি দিতে পারি কিন্তু অ্যাকচুয়ালি আপনার কেন হচ্ছে না জানেন, এটা আপনার কন্টেন্টটা তো হচ্ছে মেমোরিটা অনেক হয়ে গেছে, এটাকে সেন্ড করা কোয়াইট ডিফিকাল্ট। আপনি তো প্রচুর লিখে ফেলেছেন বোধহয়।
না না, খুব বেশি না, আমি ওয়ার্ড লিমিটের মধ্যেই লিখেছি। এক একটা অ্যাসাইনমেন্টের পেজ হয়েছে ধরুন 12 পেজ, 12 থেকে 13 পেজ,
12 থেকে
মানে এক একটা কোর্সের জন্য। হ্যাঁ
আচ্ছা, 12
আমি একটু বলবো স্যার একটু?
হ্যাঁ বলুন।
ম্যাম একটু গাইড করে দিন।
হ্যাঁ একদম।
ম্যাম আপনি যে ইমেজ গুলো তুলেছেন না ম্যাম, ওটা মনে হচ্ছে এমবিটা একটু বেশি হয়ে গেছে।
না না, ওটা 7 MB হয়েছে, আমি দেখেছি, কারণ আপনাদের ম্যাক্সিমাম লিমিট হচ্ছে 10 MB, আর আমার প্রত্যেকটা পিডিএফ এর সাইজ 7 MB এর মধ্যে হয়ে গেছে।
ম্যাম আমি আপনাকে বলে দিচ্ছি ম্যাম, একটা কম্প্রেসার একটা ডাউনলোড করে নেবেন ম্যাম, এই প্লে স্টোর থেকে একটা কম্প্রেসার ডাউনলোড করে নেবেন, ওটাকে কম্প্রেসারে কম্প্রেস করে নিলেন না, ওটা 1 MB তে চলে আসবে।
আমি এটাই বলতে চাইছি, আপনি
তাহলে ম্যাম ওটা আপনি ইজিলি সেন্ড করতে পারবেন।
আপনার অ্যাকচুয়ালি ওটা হচ্ছে এমবিটা, আপনি 7 MB দেখছে কিন্তু এটা অ্যাকচুয়ালি, আর আপনি কি একসাথে সব কটা অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট পাঠাচ্ছেন?
না না, একটা একটা করেই পাঠাচ্ছি।
তাহলে তো হয়ে যাওয়ার কথা, কিন্তু ওই আপনাকে একদম নিরুপম কারেক্ট বলেছে, আপনি ওটাকে কি বলুন তো করে দিন, কম্প্রেস
করে নেবো। ঠিক আছে, আমি 2 দিনের মধ্যে এটা চেষ্টা করে আমি আপনাকে নেক্সট ক্লাসে তাহলে জানাবো।
নেক্সট ক্লাসে না, যদি আপনার তাতেও প্রবলেম হয়, বুঝতে পেরেছেন, তাতেও যদি আপনার কাছে আমাদের গ্রুপে দেখবেন প্রদীপের ফোন নাম্বারটা আছে।
হ্যাঁ, আমি আজকে প্রদীপ স্যারের সঙ্গে কথা বলেছি, উনি বলেছেন যে পরের দিন অফিসে যাবেন, তারপরে উনি দেখবেন আর কি, যদি কোনো মেল আইডি ব্যবস্থা করতে পারেন।
আমি ওকে বলে দেবো, মানে হচ্ছে আপনি একটা পার্সোনাল মেল আইডি আছে, সেই মেল আইডিতে আপনি সেন্ড করবেন ফর ইউ, বিকজ ইউ আর নট ইউ ক্যান নট, মানে হচ্ছে সিট ইন ইউর এক্সাম। আপনি অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট সাবমিট না করলে আপনি পরীক্ষায় বসতে পারবেন।
হ্যাঁ এক্স্যাক্টলি, আমি জানুয়ারিতে পরীক্ষা দিতেই যাবো, আর 6টা পেপারই আমি দেবো এইবার, আমার অ্যাসাইনমেন্টও হয়ে গেছে।
আপনাকে বললাম আপনি ফর্মটা ফিল আপ করে দিতে পারতেন, কিন্তু আপনাকে মানে হচ্ছে যদি আপনি ডিসেম্বরে ধরুন 10 তারিখে লাস্ট ডেট আছে, আপনি 15-16 তারিখে এসে আমাকে দিন, আমি সেটুকু অ্যাকসেপ্ট করতে পারি ফর দ্য বেনিফিট অফ দ্য স্টুডেন্ট। আমি অফিসিয়ালি বলছি, ইট ইজ নো প্রবলেম। কিন্তু আপনি তো বুঝছেনই না, আমাদেরকে হচ্ছে লাস্ট ডেট হয়ে গেলে আমাদেরকে পুরো ইভালুয়েট করে এটাকে সাবমিট করতে হয়।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, বুঝেছি আমি। হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে, আমি কমপ্রেস করে দেখি চেষ্টা করে, তারপরে না হলে আমি আপনাদের সঙ্গে কন্ট্যাক্ট করবো আবার। আপনি কাইন্ডলি যদি একটা মেল আইডি দেন তখন খুব ভালো হয়।
একদম। ঠিক আছে, is any other problem, but I am not talking with the administrative problem, but if any face any administrative problem, it is open my study center from Monday to Sunday. No problem, no hesitation, you can come with discussion. I will help always. Not my every faculty will help you, because it is open from 10:30 to 4:30. any problem হয় you can come in study center, because আমরা কিন্তু হচ্ছে basically as a officially we are not entitled, we are not entertained in any mail, any workshop, any WhatsApp, any other, because some of the technicalities is behind that. আমরা আপনাদের সাথে কিন্তু অনেক কিছু কথা বলতে পারবো না, মোবাইলেও বলতে পারবো না, হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ গ্রুপেও দিতে পারবো না। ইট ইজ দ্য অফিসিয়াল মেসেজ দেওয়াটা আমাদের পক্ষে খুব ডিফিকাল্ট, বাট ইফ ইউ পার্সোনালি উইল কাম, then I can communicate, and after the communication you can spread this opinion to your unofficial group. That is I can allow, but we cannot officially, we cannot announce anything. You understand? Everybody will be clear about my notion, what I am telling you now.
Yes sir,
we understand your concern.
Sir আরেকটা রিকোয়েস্ট আছে আমার, সেটা হচ্ছে আপনি এমএএস 11 পেপারটার জন্য এক্সামে আমরা যদি এ গ্রেড পাওয়ার টার্গেট রাখি, কি করে প্রিপারেশন নেব এবং কোন কোন কোয়েশ্চেন, মানে পুরো স্টাডি মেটেরিয়ালের ইম্পর্টেন্স দেবো না, যদি একটু কোনো অল্টারনেটিভ পাস্ট কোয়েশ্চেন অ্যানালিসিস করি, আপনি যদি একটু মেথডস গুলো বলে দেন ভালো হয়।
কিন্তু ম্যাডাম আপনি তো বাংলাদেশে।
হ্যাঁ আমি তো পড়ছি এখান থেকে।
না আপনি ওখান থেকে পড়ছেন, আপনি তো মানে হচ্ছে আমি ওপেন প্ল্যাটফর্মে কেন আমি টকিং করতে পারছি না, বিকজ ইট ইজ রেকর্ডিং ইজ নাও, বাট anybody will come for my study center, I can help you, they can communicate to you now. It is not possible to communicate anything because it is a recording platform.
ঠিক আছে,
Monday to 10:30 to 4:32, sir.
But I am not available Tuesday. But when you come in the Sunday, by overflow you will come now. You understand? Because some of the COVID protocol, Monday to Saturday it is always, but Sunday we can very restricted for the enter in our study center. You understand? Monday to Saturday, except Tuesday, I am not available. And Sunday is also not available, but I am also study center, but I am not talking with the students now due to the some COVID rules now. Okay.
So আপনি ওটা openly আমাদের help করছেন, thank you.
It is my part because you are the students under my study center. My responsibility is now to achieve highest level from this study center. এবং হয়েও থাকে আমার study center থেকে। আপনাদের প্রত্যেকের যাতে ভালো পারফরমেন্স হয় আমরা সেটাকে সবাই চেষ্টা করি।
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
ঠিক আছে, thank you. Now I am stop my class. I can, if anyone visit the campus, please share the suggestion given to you. Obviously, it is a very good. মানে হচ্ছে এখানে কিন্তু কেউ আর কোনো কিছু নিজেদের কাছে গোপন রাখবেন না. Please share to the other way because it is a distance mode of education. You help for the other. Okay? একে অপরকে সাহায্য করতেই হবে আর কি. Okay? Can I leave now? With your permission?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Good night.
Anyone there?